All right, everyone. Welcome to the Beauty Under 40 group interview. We're actually going to do this in two segments, and you won't be able to tell because we're going to merge them together using some Gorilla Glue and technological magic, so it'll look like we're all together in one shot. So here today, we have three incredible women who are doing incredible things. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we'll jump right into it. So Dawn, why don't we start with you?
Oh, I'm Dawn Bradley. I live in Calgary, Alberta. I'm the creator of Rock Your Business, a stress-free guide to earning six figures for hairstylists. And I'm the host of the Anxious Creative Podcast. These things were born out of my own experience in the last 19 years, being in the beauty industry and experiencing overwhelm, stress, anxiety, and like the fantasy of leaving the industry. And so my whole purpose now is to help other stylists overcome that overwhelm, that anxiety, that stress, take more things off their plate while helping them earn more money.
Excellent. Tam.
Hello, my name is Tamara DiLulo. I am the owner of Candy Nail Bar in Montreal. I am an educator for CND, and I am also an editorial nail artist represented by Folio.
Very nice. Alicia?
Hi, my name is Alicia Soulier. I am the founder and CEO of Salon Scale Technology. We simplify how to price for profit by separating your parts from labor using salon scale.
Nice.
Excellent. So, Dawn, what were you doing when you found out about Beauty Under 40?
Do I remember what I was doing?
Sure.
Is that what it, or, jeepers, I have a terrible memory, but I know that like getting nominated for something is always so exciting. I don't remember what I was doing or where I was, but I remember opening up the email and being like, whoa, like seeing my name alongside these other fabulous, amazing people who are doing amazing things. It was such an honor, and I was so excited to be amongst a group of such like kick-ass, ambitious people. And I remember just being like, look at, like, this is so exciting. I'm like kind of get weirdly goofy and awkward when exciting things happen to me.
Tamara, who did you tell first?
I told Mary Doyle. She's in charge of PR, I believe, and marketing for Revlon Professional. She was sitting next to me. It was really cool because we were at the Contessa's, and I was there for a photo shoot as well. And so we were eating dinner, and then I was like scrolling through my DMs, and I was like, wow, check this out, Mary, look at this. And she's like, wow, this is fantastic. You're young, you can still win. And I was like, well, Mary, I'm soon going to be 40. And she was like, shh, don't tell anyone. No one will know. It's okay, Tamara. You deserve this. And then, that was cool because I was actually sitting next to her, and she was super excited for me. Of course, I was excited as well. Anytime you're nominated for anything, it's exciting. And I was super excited. You know why? Because it was in the business category. I'm so used to getting nominated in the more artistic category. So for me personally, whenever I get encouraged on a business level, or I get awards in those categories, it to me personally, it's like it excites me so much more because it's encouraging to know that you're inspiring people on a different, in a different way than you normally are. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask Alicia a question, but I want to come back to this the announcements during the Contessa Awards in a second. So Alicia.
I almost dropped my fork. Boom.
Yeah, that was intentional. But I'll explain in a second. So, Alicia, what when you told your team that you got nominated, all of those incredible women that are working for you, what was their reaction?
Well, I mean, first of all, my first call was to Kim. She's our COO, my basically Robin to the Batman, we call it. And she was super pumped because, we've worked really hard. And, when being nominated for an award like business, there's so many more people that come behind behind it. It's not just me. So I kind of looked at it as like, this is definitely a collaboration between all of us, that we've gotten recognition. And the fact that we launched our company only 2 years ago. So the fact that we have this accolade, these things that are coming in, was just an overwhelmingly positive and affirmative situation, that we were heading in the right direction.
Right. Hi, everyone. Ralph Bryant with the Beauty Under 40 group interviews, continuing in the business category. I have Chelsea and Kirsten from Locally Hair Extensions. How did I do that? I did. Is that it? All right, cool.
Got it.
So we're talking about Beauty Under 40 awards and the finalists. The award show is on Tuesday, May 19th. And so I wanted to ask you guys, how did you feel when you found out that you were nominated for your Beauty Under 40?
Shocked, absolutely shocked. I couldn't even believe that we were being recognized in this industry. I mean, we've only been in the beauty industry for a couple years, so it was amazing that we were being recognized for this. So just incredible.
Yeah,
Who found out first?
I did.
Okay. And then how did you relay the information?
It was straight to Kirsten first because Carlissa was busy with her baby, and then Carlissa called back and she was ecstatic too.
So Chelsea, you called Carlissa and she was busy, and then you called me. Is that?
No, I called you and then tried calling Carlissa. She was busy, called me back.
Okay, got it. So we sent out all of the finalists. So I haven't talked about this since, but so all the ABA people were at the Contessa's, and we had all of the finalists' emails ready to go. But we weren't going to send them. We were like, oh, we'll send them tomorrow. It'll be cool. And then I don't know how it went from that to, but all of these people are here right now, or most of them are in this room right now. Stylists and makeup artists and nail techs, they're all in the same place. What if we sent them all right now and someone like jumped up during dinner and screamed, I'm a finalist?
Well, I screamed, yes, I'm still.
So no one did that. And Laura Dunphy from Salon Magazine's probably happy that didn't happen, but it would have been pretty funny. So anyway, that's the behind the scenes on.
All of a sudden, 15 people just start standing up.
Right? Why not?
Let's go to the bar. Yeah, for sure.
So Dawn, did you when you started out in your career, obviously you started out as a hairdresser, you didn't start out as a business coach. Did you think about that you'd be at a point like this where you'd be recognized for all of your business work?
Oh goodness, no. You know what's funny is I was really encouraged not to become a hairstylist. Growing up, I grew up in a small town in Saskatchewan of like about 20,000 people, and I remember I was up for a scholarship to go to hair school because I was doing well in cosmetology. And even my hairstylist was like, if you want to be able to support yourself, like, don't. And then my parents, they're like, do it so you can get your way through university. So when I entered into the industry, it was kind of just something to make money and have a job when I was 18. I was still 18 when I got my first job out of hair school.
Right.
So I had no idea. And then I just got to the point where I didn't want to go to university, and I started to see the people that I worked with and them doing well. And what motivated me is I was sick of doing sweeping the floor, washing bowls. So I was I'm sick of waiting around for clients. And I started busting my ass to get busy. And then within 3 years, I was the top earner in my salon, which was crazy. And so then I just to make a really long story short, I just started traveling because I felt too young to be settling into the industry. And then after all these experiences, and going self-employed in 2010, people just started coming to me and asking me questions about how I did things and how I overcame things. And that's when I was like, okay, like I can actually help people and help keep people in the industry with the amount of people that are like quitting and leaving. So I had parents who were business owners, and I always thought I wanted to own a business in some way, shape, or form. But I had this was not a concept that was even in my mind back 19 years ago.
So I was gonna ask Tamara that. Did you always know? And Don, we're gonna spend some when in the podcast. I'm gonna just ignore what you just said for now because we're gonna dig deep into that. I have 3 questions for you already. We're just gonna hold on to that. So,
okay.
But Tamara, did you know you wanted to be a business owner when you started out, or did it come and you kind of, in your case, you didn't just start a business, you created kind of a new thing at the time. Was that intentional, or how did you decide I want to be a business owner?
I always tell people that entrepreneurs, they either kind of like have it or they don't. No matter what studies you have. Like sometimes I have people, they come to me and they've had all these studies in business and degrees and so on and so forth, but they don't have that entrepreneurial spirit because it's a really different type of individual. It takes these specific qualities. So when I was a kid, I mean, literally I had a lemonade stand. Okay. I know this is cliche, but my lemonade stand was like a lemonade stand, like on another level. I brought out my portable phone with the big antenna, and we were in front of a municipal beach, which was newly converted. And so people couldn't make phone calls. So I would charge people 75 cents to make a phone call. Yes.
I love it.
And my mom was laughing at me from inside going, oh my God, this kid, what am I going to do with this kid? So lemonade, phone calls, $120 a day. I would take my mom to go eat at her favorite Chinese restaurant and buy her some scratchies with my 25 cents rolled up. I mean, they hated me at that restaurant. But anyways, I mean, and it went on. I mean, I started making like scrunchies and selling those with the matching backpacks. When I was in elementary school in grade 6, I mean, and then in high school, my thing was I would do people's nails. So my mom got me an airbrush. I'd be doing nails. My mom made me a little, like a little business card. So it's always been like a hobby. Then I went into like what we would call a career, right? So I did designing for 10 years and I learned a lot from my bosses. I worked like in a lot of these kind of like Devil Wears Prada type scenarios, but in real life, you know?
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot from these guys, and they would always pretty much give me the same advice that if you can do something that no one else can do, or if you have a talent that no one else has, or ideas that no one else have, you should be working on your own. If you're the person in the company that's irreplaceable, then you have what you need to become a really good, like an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And so when I took this decision to open Candy, I mean, it was a total risk. I really didn't think it would work out as well as it did. I just told myself, I need to do something for myself. I need to be my own boss. I need to take a risk. And honestly, I mean, that's how I became a business person, and I learned along the way. I learned a lot. So
that lemonade stand, Alicia, sounds like something that you would have done. And I'm going to go on a limb and assume that you did do something like that. So that's my question for you. What was your first, you've had lots of businesses in your young life. What was your first business? If you look back and think about your life as a kid, I'm sure you had some kind of like kid business, probably like put yourself through university or something. What was it?
I mean, I don't think I understood a financial model. So, I had the entrepreneur side down. Like I knew how to, you know, do different types of services. Like I remember I was like the go-to braider on the street. So like I had people lined up and I would like braid people's hair. I wasn't even on sports teams, but they like invited me on to just braid people's hair. I was like people's braider, you know, like that was me. But I didn't quite understand the charging part. I just like, I like the ego part of them being like, oh, we have Alicia, she's the braider. But once I got into actually doing hair, once I got into hair school and started charging for hair and understood the business side of it, it really like opened my eyes to like the value side to what I was doing. But yeah, I think naturally for me, young, it wasn't necessarily an exchange of finances, but I learned really early on how to be valuable to people. And then as I started all my businesses, I just became more and more exclusive on the things that I can offer to this world. And then that increased the value that I could charge or contribute to the industry. So that's essentially where I went in this whole entrepreneurial journey of life.
So Don, you're what you try to do in your business. I'm gonna say this, and it's not gonna sound nice, but
I'm prepared.
But I'm gonna try and explain it.
Okay.
So what I used to say to salon owners as a rep is I would say, especially if I worked for a brand that had really good education, I would say to them, or if the salon owner was struggling with his or her business, I would say no stylist or makeup artist or nail tech wakes up and says, I want to open a business. They say, I want to open up a salon, or I want to open up a nail bar, because I hate my boss, I could do it better, I just want a place to work, I got fired, all of these things. But no one said, very few, I shouldn't say no one, very few artists say, I want to start a business because I want to do payroll and I want to make sure that the lights are on and I want to pay insurance and all of the things that you have to do to become a business owner that lasts more than the couple of years that the average salon spa in our industry lasts. So what's the one thing that that all of us in our industry from a business standpoint, if we could implement one thing, what's the one thing that we could all do that would make us all filthy rich?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that question. What's the one thing?
You can skip the filthy rich part, but just what's the one thing that the typical business owner in our industry is kind of missing, that if they just implemented that thing, they would be successful? And then I'm going to ask Tamara if she's implemented the thing that Dawn says.
I love this. And I think like the thing that immediately comes to my mind is outsourcing. And like when I think of someone who's like starting their own business as a solopreneur, a lot of times they think like, well, I can do that. And I remember this is like a distinct moment when I opened up my salon and it was just me. My dad being like, why would you hire a bookkeeper? You can do that. It takes 10 to 15 minutes a day. And I was like, but that's 10 to 15 minutes a day that I don't want to do that. And I could add that to like doing what I do well. And so that's something I learned really early on that helped me like create more income in my business and more profitability in less hours, is like finding professionals who do what they do well to do the things that I don't do well in my business. Because it was after like an 8-hour day of sitting at home on a Sunday, like feeling so frustrated because I couldn't figure out QuickBooks or whatever it is, and being like, if I would have spent 8 hours in the salon, I would have made X amount of dollars, and it would have taken like a professional like 3 hours to do that 8 hours I just tried to do. And I could have made more money in 8 hours in the salon, paid them, and still made a profit. And so outsourcing is my answer to that, is like finding other people that can do the things that you don't do well and do them well. And I think like Alicia's a pure example where she like, obviously you have people who've made the app, because I don't know how you would even make an app.
I coded it all myself.
Yeah. But yeah, so that would be, sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, Alicia did that in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
In between.
30 minutes.
Yeah, it took 35 minutes.
I just took Coding for Dummies, and then I just burned the midnight oil and made it.
I think the kids did it, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a family operation.
That's right. So, Tamara, what's the one, like, what's the thing as a business owner, not as a person, because I ask a similar question about this as you as a person, but as a business owner, what's the one thing that you know today that you wish you knew in 2009 when you started Candy Nail Bar?
Well, this definitely goes back to what Dawn just said, the outsourcing things. Not only outsourcing, but believing in others that they can actually help you. What happens is, well, with my background, I worked so much in like branding, marketing. I was always coming up with like branding, logo, concepts for companies I was working for. I also did it freelance. Like I have a bunch of different restaurants and things that I've always worked with, like planning, concepts. Like that's something I know I'm really strong at. And that's something that in my case that I like to maintain control over. But like outsourcing things, like exactly like what you were saying, things that are not my strengths, like accounting is the number one thing. I just recently let go of that. And that's because I had some bad experiences. And as you know, in business, sometimes when you have a bad experience, it's really hard. So now I've just learned to really find the right people by asking the right questions, doing the research required. And then once I have those people in my little world, in my little business world, and I've trained them in a way to understand them and that they understand how I like to work so that we become a good collaborative team, just letting go. And that includes even my staff, because a lot of my nail technicians, they'll come to me sometimes with a degree of knowledge that I'll then tweak into the Candy method or the way I teach. So then I literally have a team of people and we all have the same energy and we try to understand the goals of everyone. And so I think that if I would have known this a long time ago, I could have been way more successful, than I am. So definitely letting go and getting to trust people in your team, in your internal team.
Alicia, it's an interesting segue to your story, because when you were running a salon and like that was in your universe, and then you made a crazy turn. When we think about a lot of people, we put them in these left brain, right brain categories because it's easy for us to understand someone else's personality. But here you are, you've lived in both completely different worlds, from the artistry and the creativity as a stylist to now running a tech company. And now I know that you did all of the coding yourself, but but if you hadn't, how do you match, like, I have a vision, I have an idea, and I literally have to trust someone else to make that vision a reality. I can't do almost any of it on my own.
Yep.
How hard is that?
It's hard when you first practice it, but with practice, practice makes perfection. And I think your first business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and then your second, you'll get better, and then your third, hopefully that one sticks. But I think, I like to use this as like just a visual. So essentially, if you think of like a boat with one motor, like you have to like steer it from the back, right? And if that boat sprung a leak and there was only you in the boat, how much more likely are you going to get to land as if there was two people in that boat? So if you had someone patching the hole while you were still steering it, you're probably more likely to survive, right? And
right.
so if we just tend to start to visualize those processes in our businesses and realize the more people we have to help is going to propel that. So the only difference is just understanding that, oh, well, you know, this person's going to steer, this person's going to drive, this person's going to patch, this person's going to do that. Like now, the more people you bring in, the faster you're going to get to your journey and your destination. You know, the biggest thing for me was, it's the most important thing for me as a CEO, as the tech company, was to set the vision, hire the team that's smarter than me, raise the money, and then get the hell out of the way. That was like, that's my job, is just to make sure everybody else is okay. We have enough money, and that island that I'm trying to get everyone to go to, that everyone knows exactly where they're going. So yeah, it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time. And then I do have to make a comment on that, like moving from a salon owner into a technical founder. Thank goodness I service so many different types of customers, because I learned how to communicate from, you know, stay-at-home moms to like doctors to lawyers, like so many different types of people. Mm-hmm. And because I understood that, I think hairdressers have one of the most amazing gifts, is that we have the gift of communication. And when you can really tap into that, and as a founder in the tech space, when I would talk to my technical team, it was so much easier, because it was like explaining, like when they showed me a picture of a haircut and they want that thing, it was like as easy as explaining that. As long as you know where you're going and you have good communication, you will get to that island that you've been working to get to. And guess what? When you get there, you have a ton of people that are there excited that you all made it there together.
Cool. All right, Dawn. So my last question for you is, how thinking about you know, your nomination, I'm sure that it brings up, because it would for me, it brings up like feelings of nostalgia and pride and lots of hopefully happy thoughts for you. I'm going to ask this question of all three of you.
What if I answered no? Wouldn't that be terrible?
Right.
I was really bummed out that I got nominated.
It would be the end of this conversation.
Oh, we lost Dawn. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Dawn is no longer available. So if like I there's no question there. I'm just curious to get your, you know, impressions on it as someone that has just, you know, been just doing your thing. Like all three of you are doing these things because you're passionate about it and you love them, not because you think someone's going to hand you an award like this. But now you are being handed an award like this as a finalist for Beauty Under 40. I'm curious what, you know, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I love that question, because I think like recognition and affirmation always is such a wonderful thing to know. Like, okay, like for me, it's like about making a difference in people's lives. And this nomination shows me that like other people can see the purpose behind what I'm doing. Like whether like back when I was behind the chair, I have this like beautifully written letter that my boyfriend wrote me that talking about like the reason why he loves me was because he can see that my heart is like more than just doing the hair. It's about like the people in my chair. And when I shifted into like helping other business owners, it like kind of that same like reason why behind it was to like help people not just like make more money, but help them feel more fulfilled and more happy in life. And so being able to be nominated in the business category for this is like a wonderful, like warm, fuzzy blanket feeling for affirmation that like I'm being recognized for that why behind what I'm doing. And yeah, just like the recognition is always like, it's such a wonderful thing. And to be named alongside such amazing other individuals, it's just, yeah, it's like a warm, fuzzy blanket. I don't know. That's such a weird thing to say.
No. No. So people have made billions of dollars off of this. It's the Snuggie. Like this,
yeah,
the warm, fuzzy blanket you're referring to is a $1 billion industry.
Yeah. Like as much as like, it's like Yeah, there's a part of ego that it's like, oh yeah, like it's okay to admit that like it feels really good to be recognized. But it's even better to know that it's a recognition for how I'm helping people, which is pretty cool.
So Tam, you said something earlier that you're used to winning awards and being nominated on the creative side, and this was an opportunity. Beauty Under 40 was an opportunity to help to step outside of the boxes that we even though we're all creative people, we still put those boxes that this person is this when really they're this, and this. Yeah. So how is it for you to be recognized on the business side with this finalist nomination? And you talked about this a little bit, but I'd like you to, as we wrap up, expound on that.
I think that in my case, Candy is celebrating its 10th anniversary. We just marked that point. Unfortunately, we weren't able to celebrate, but that's coming. Mm-hmm. And so that made me a little bit nostalgic, of course. It brought me back to the beginnings and made me really, especially with COVID, it's really given me a time to reflect on everything that I've achieved. And I'm one of those people who has a hard time sort of talking about my accomplishments openly. I've been, a lot of my clients and friends are always like, why don't you make a wall of fame? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I'm always like, oh, so this whole period and this whole moment, including this nomination, because it was in November that we actually celebrated, has brought me into reflection and has made me feel extremely proud of the accomplishments. And it sort of liberated me in a way to make me feel it's become easier for me to talk about these accomplishments now that I've reflected a little bit more on them. And it's also sort of pushing me into a direction to figure out how where we're going to go from here. Where is my business going to go from here? I'm taking this moment as a stepping stone to sort of reflect and see what Candy can become for its next 10 years, right? So I would say I'm very proud and I'm honored to be seen, for my business skills.
Excellent. Alicia, you're already 3 or 4 businesses in, with probably 3 or 4 more to go before you age out of the Beauty Under 40 category. So, how does knowing that that you're always kind of seeking and growing and learning, how does this feel for you? Because I know that there's more amazing stuff that helps the industry coming from you. So at this moment, are you enjoying this? Or are you like, yeah, I'm here, but I got more to do? So
no, I'm tired. I'm done after this. Just kidding. Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, it makes me feel, again, proud. I feel proud. I feel also like I'm in the right place at the right time. And I feel so much closer to my why, the why I do what I do and what fuels me. And ultimately, I want to leave this industry better than I found it. And I think that's kind of like what leads me to keep making more leaps. It started from me having my own chair to having my salon, then heading into the technical sector. And this is really touching base into that why for me. So when I get recognition for being a business leader or a thought leader in the space, the one thing it does for me is I think about all the other people I can inspire to become business leaders themselves. And a lot of people think you need to have that business degree, or you need to understand financial metrics, or you need to have some sorts of understanding. But by being a living example that you can just learn it, if you want it that bad, you can really learn it. That's what drives me now. And so when I get seen for this, the thing that makes me so excited is that there's going to be another few dozen, let's say, entrepreneurs out there that are like, if she can do this, then I can do that too. So for me, I think we all can agree to that, is that if you have to put my face on something to allow others to feel like they're worthy of being there too, then put it all over the place. And when I focused on that, it made me feel better, and it made me not feel like I was doing it for ego reasons. I was doing it to help inspire other people.
Well said. Well, I every time I do these, I selfishly learn so much for me, and I think we've learned so much, just in the conversations that the ABA team has had after we watch these interviews. I think we've been doing a lot of work on building the roadmap for life after coronavirus. And I think this is really a primer to how do I want to be a rock star in this industry. What do I need to do? Well, there's lots of books and stuff that you could read, but I think if someone said, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to binge listen to all 25 of these podcasts, plus the group interviews, you guys are living embodiments of the blueprint. So thank you very much for joining us today for the Beauty Under 40 group interview in the business category. We will see you on Tuesday for the awards, and then we will hear all of your individual origin stories on the podcast. So until then, stay safe and stay sane. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
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 Hey, Dawn, do we have an appointment yet?
I emailed you back. I gave you, I think my Tuesday's booked now, but I gave you a Wednesday option as well.
Wednesday sounds great.
I'll
just look at I'll look at your email, and I'll send you a I have Chelsea and Kirsten from Locally Hair Extensions. How did I do that? I did. Is that it? All right, cool. So I wanted to ask you guys, how did you feel when you found out that you were nominated for your Beauty Under 40?
Shocked. Absolutely shocked. I couldn't even believe that we were being recognized in this industry. I mean, we've only been in the beauty industry for a couple years, so it was amazing that we were being recognized for this. So just incredible.
Yeah,
Who found out first?
I did.
Okay. And then now this is a tough call. Which sister did you call first? Or do you have like a standing group call and you got everybody together? Like, how did you relay the information?
It was straight to Kirsten first because Carlissa was busy with her baby, and then Carlissa called back and she was ecstatic too.
So Chelsea, you called Carlissa and she was busy, and then you called me. Is that?
No, I called you and then tried calling Carlissa. She was busy. Called me back.
Okay,
got it. So Kirsten, who did you, like, in your family or outside of your family, what's been the reaction to Beauty Under 40?
We've had a really positive response from everyone, and everyone's been super supportive, and it's been really incredible. We're just feeling so grateful for this opportunity, and the responses have been super positive and enlightening.
And I will say this. I think that people are acting less surprised that we were nominated than we are ourselves. So maybe they really saw, well, I mean, not that we didn't know that we were doing a good job, but I feel like they were like, yeah, like, of course you guys were nominated for this. And we were kind of like, really? Like, we're just surprised.
Sometimes in the day-to-day operations of a business, you're so focused on, running the company and, your goals in the future that it's hard to sit back and look at where you've come. And so I feel like we were shocked with the nomination, but I feel, the responses have been really great. And you're right, Chelsea, like, people weren't quite as shocked as maybe we were that we were nominated.
I'm going to ask you to say that part again, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
So, so Chelsea, you said your colleague, your everyone seemed to be less shocked than you guys were. Kirsten, I'm curious why you think that is. Like, clearly you guys are in a business, it's going well, you're seeing some success, and yet you guys were surprised about your nomination.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I just, I think every day when you're operating a business, you're so focused on, the everyday operations and your goals and, short-term and long-term goals that you can sometimes stop to look back where you've come. And so I feel that we were shocked with the nomination because we're so focused on goals and being more successful than we are and just continuing to be better and better, whereas people weren't quite as shocked as we were.
Chelsea, what this is, clearly a stepping stone for you guys as a new business. But you're going to get this exposure, the business will get this exposure being a part of Beauty Under 40, which hopefully helps the business propel even further. How have you thought, have you started to think about ways in which you hope the business will grow as a result of being a finalist?
Absolutely. And I mean, we've been thinking about this, like Kirsten touched on, with setting goals, both short term and long term. We've been thinking about this for a really long time. And it's kind of just that we are ready to onboard more and more stylists across Canada. And we've got not only just in Canada, but also into the US as well. But we've got our plans to do this, and we're just so ready to meet more stylists and get into more salons. So we're ready for it, and we're just really excited for people to welcome us to their salons.
Cool. Last thing, Kirsten. So on Tuesday, as I said, we have the Beauty Under 40 finals. Are you going to be nervous?
I don't necessarily think nervous would be the right word. I'm definitely not nervous. I would be very happy to see anyone win. To be honest, everyone who's been nominated deserves this. And I mean, if we did win, I'd be extremely excited, and it would just really clarify and verify that what we've been doing has really been working. But yeah, I'm not nervous because I feel like all the finalists deserve to be here, and whoever wins, I'm going to be really happy for them. And I hope it's us, but would be happy.
Cool. Can I ask you, where were you when you found out that you were nominated for Beauty Under 40?
I was at Toronto at the
Contessa?
Yes, Contessas. Yes, of course. Yeah, because last year my team worked for a collection, and we were nominated about Team of the Year.
Right.
And we we were finalists. So it was very, very excited. Okay, so the team was managing by Mathieu Jacob. It's a hairdresser at my salon, a senior hairdresser. It's my creativity director. Okay. Yep. So Mathieu was managing the team. Okay, so I said hello to Lynn, Kiyo, Marie-Ève, David. I'm not sure I'm not losing someone, but yeah. So it was very, really a nice experience because we did the shooting at the salon, and it was very exciting to go with the team at Toronto for the gala, and say yes. So I was at the just at the beginning of the gala. It was like a cocktail.
Yeah.
And I was there, and I just received a message on Instagram the ABA said to me I was nominated in the business category. So I was, oh my God, it's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you were there with your team. What was their reaction?
My team, they are very proud, and they said to me all the time, "You work really hard, JF. So it just happened because you work hard." Yeah, they always said to me, when when we have a success about the salon, about when we have some collaboration with influencer and like that, and when we have good results, they said to me, GF, you have the good idea and it works. And I said to them, it works because you are there. If you are not there, then it works. It's always a team. Always.
Right. How would it feel if you end up winning the finalist award at the Beauty Under 40 Awards on Tuesday?
I was very, very excited. Very, I don't know in English, but touché. Very, I don't know in English. So yes, of course. So I will very, very honored. And sometimes we don't know if we do the right thing, but when you are nominated and when you win the prize, this is like okay, you do the right job. So yeah, I will feel like that. Yeah.
Cool.